Really don't even have your name on that one.
Oh, I don't count them. I'll be going in here.
Hey.
Call to order the Ways and Means Committee meeting of February 8th, 2022 at 4:16 p.m. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Here.
Vice Chair Hughes.
Here.
Commissioner Laring.
Here.
Commissioner Nash.
Here.
Commissioner Pago.
Present.
Chairman Skolnick.
Here.
Commissioner Wilkins. Commissioner Sear.
Here. Okay, the next item is the approval of the agenda.
Support.
Have a motion and support for the approval of the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Next item is approval of the minutes of January 11th, 2022.
So moved.
A motion and support, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we have financial reports that are being placed on file. Next item is a public comment on an agenda item. Is there any public comment on agenda item? Is there any public anyone? Seeing none, I'm going to move to Kathy. We have Kevin Klump on.
He's coming in.
Kevin Klump, are you on the line? I don't see him on the line.
Yes, we do. Okay, we'll go with items for consideration. The first item is Michael Mao. It is WM 22/02-06. It's a move to authorize Muskegon County Department of Veterans Affairs to accept a fiscal year 22 County Veteran Service Fund grant supplemental funds in the amount of $33,319 to be expended as proposed, and authorize the chairman of the Board of Commissioners to sign and the grant amendment.
So moved. Support.
I have a motion and support. Are there any comments, questions, or concerns on this item?
Commissioners.
Yes, Chair Skolnick.
Mr. Bowers in the audience, maybe we can just talk about this for a minute.
Got your legs in.
Mike Brown with Muskegon County Veterans Affairs.
No, if you just discuss it.
Oh,
Explain it a little bit.
Perfect. So we're already in receipt of the fiscal year 22 County Veteran Service Fund grant in the amount of $151,000 or so that we're using. The state found an additional $900,000, and they dispersed it amongst any of the counties that were already in receipt of the grant. It's based on veteran population. That's why we got the amount. And back in just when COVID just started, we were donated a van from My Auto to be used to help transport veterans to and from the clinic in particular, because of the lack of a bus route at the VA clinic presently. We accepted that. It was a nice gift. We accepted it. It's very high miles. It came with high miles. It's at 256,000 miles now almost. And we get frequent requests to drive people to Battle Creek or to Wyoming, and we can't do that. It's just not feasible. So with the state grant that they came up with the extra money, we asked if it would be possible to purchase a vehicle, not lease one, because we plan to lease it through September. So purchase it. We went out and got 3 bids on vehicles, and would be using it for a long time.
Any
Thank
other questions? All right, hearing none, let's have a roll call on this, please.
Commissioner Laring.
Yes.
Commissioner Nash.
Yes.
Commissioner Pago.
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chair Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Sear.
Yes. Item is approved. The next item is WM 22/02-07. Move to extend the corporate counsel contract with Foster, Swift, Collins, and Smith, PC for an additional 3-year term commencing July 16th, 2022, and authorize the board chair to sign the agreement.
So moved.
Support.
I have a motion and support on this item. Any questions, comments, or concern on this item? Yes, Commissioner Howard, right?
Yes, I saw that, and we appreciate the discount we get. But after this year, it says the hourly rate will increase not more than 5%. But what percent would it be?
I don't know yet, so because I try and keep them as low as I can. So what I generally try and do is try and tie them to inflation. Unfortunately, inflation right now
Is that
is troublesome. So, so what we did was we put in there a cap on that amount, right? 5%, so that we could increase it. If we go above 5%, the board will have to approve it. That doesn't mean it's going to go up 5%. It only means that if inflation continues the way it is, then we may have to raise it accordingly. But I'm hoping to keep it under that 5% every year anyway.
Yes, okay.
So, and I just want to clarify one thing. Even though it's an extension of that term for 3 years, the county has the right to terminate us at any time, period.
Yeah,
Because legal services, that's the way it works. So we can't hold you to a 3-year contract. So really think of it as, this 3-year kind of engagement at a time. But at any time, if you're unhappy with us, you have the right to terminate it.
Any other questions? Yes, Chair Skolnick.
I just wanted to say that, I mean, we've only worked with Mike for a few years, but I'm very pleased with the services given us. And another thing, of course, he had a pretty low bar coming in here.
That's terrible.
But one of the things I've noticed is, compared to our previous corporate counsel, you ask him a question, he generally tries to answer it.
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to I'll get back to you and then run up another whole time
appreciate
in his
that,
office.
Mr.
And
O'Meara.
Usually you answer. So, I mean, it's less expensive for us and it's convenient and it's good. So, that's what I want to say.
Any other comments?
I have a question.
Yes,
comment.
go ahead.
So Chair Skolnick, well, weren't you here part of the ones that hired the previous corporate counsel?
He was here when I got here. And here's the
You've been here for
problem.
20 years. He was here that long?
He was, no, it was his partner, Mr. Williams, was here, and then Mr. Williams died. He took over, and he'd been filling in for, I can't remember, what was Ted Williams?
Ted Williams, yeah.
Before him. No, let me just say this too. Here's the problem. If you don't know what you don't know, then that's what happened, because he's been the attorney all the years I was on the city council for the city of Northern Shores. I thought he was like an expert at this.
Yeah, he was attorney for a lot of townships and municipalities. I'm aware of that. Yeah.
So
Still is,
I
I know.
thought
Yeah.
that's what they did.
I have another question.
Yes, go ahead. I'm
Yeah, did
sorry.
we send out bids to other attorneys or?
No, under our previous agreement, there was an option for renewal if the county wants to.
Okay.
renew.
But the first time we did it,
The
didn't we?
first time,
Yeah,
yes.
Right.
But not.
When we
for
first hired him.
renewal. That's correct.
And now we either decide if we want to keep him and renew it, or.
So we don't know what our other options are though, because we haven't went out for bid for anybody else.
That's right.
So we did initially 2 years ago.
I
If we
wasn't here
decide
2
we
years
don't
ago.
want him, we can go out for bids, but
Your contract's not due until July.
That's correct. Yeah, I believe that's right.
Here, this is a little ways.
Commissioner Nash, go ahead. please.
Commissioner, see, I was just gonna say, after serving on here under, the last couple of corporate councils we've had, it is a breath of fresh air to have a corporate counsel that actually knows what they're talking about and confident about that, and also not unwilling to tell you the hard news sometimes that he does not agree with you. And I think that was some of the issues we've had in the past is trying to please people rather than just be right by law. And I think we get that from our corporate council, and that's highly appreciated.
Yes, Commissioner Larry?
So if we've blown enough smoke up here, you know what?
You keep going. If you like. It's not often that you get a lot of gratitude in this position.
This one either, by the way.
You can keep going, he says.
We're
But
still waiting.
I will say this, I mean, I have been doing this for 22 years now, and so I try and make sure that we're objective on the legal opinions that we render without regard to particular policy. Having said that, I very much like working with the county. I really do. It's been 3 years now. It's entertaining.
It's never boring.
But it's not boring. And so, and, I think for the most part, I hope that, you're happy with me, I'm happy with you, and we can continue, because I very much like it.
You're not ready to share the entertainment with someone else?
No, every once in a while, but
We appreciate your
Another
honesty.
question?
Yeah, one more, Commissioner Larry. And then
Then I better include them both.
Go ahead.
So if we oppose your contract, can we still, not necessarily the board, but do you hold a grudge generally?
no.
But I'm right there.
People get to vote.
I was
And
already
so,
thinking
the board speaks through the votes. And so, it is what it is. You can vote accordingly. But no, I don't hold grudges. So I will say this, I have never been terminated. Not in 22 years. Not from one
So
municipality.
you don't know how good it can be.
Look, there's always a cost issue, right? But it's cost versus service and expertise. And so I can tell you that in the private sector, my rate is $4.50 an hour. But that comes with certain risks, right? People go bankrupt, they don't pay, so with municipalities, there's not that certain risk, so it's a substantial discount. So, but I enjoy what I do too. Make no mistake about that, otherwise I wouldn't do it.
All right, let's have a roll call on this one.
Oh, you cut me off.
Oh, I'm
you
sorry.
kinda
Do you
asked
have
if there's
another
comment.
question?
So will we continue the same level of service that you offer to the commissioners? The opportunity for phone calls, even if they vote no against your contract?
Always, yes. My obligation is to the county, and the county is made up of its members on the board. So, yeah.
Okay, now can we have a roll call?
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
No,
Chairman
not because I
Skolnick,
don't like it, but because I'd like to see other opportunities come across our desk.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
No.
Commissioner Seer.
Yes. That item passes. The next item is WM 22/02-08. Move to authorize the adoption of the attached resolution allowing the County of Muskegon Treasurer to borrow up to $12 million against the anticipated 2021 delinquent real property tax.
So moved.
Support.
I have a motion and support. Are there any comments, questions, or concerns on this item? Yes, Commissioner. Hovey
Yes,
Wright.
I'd like to ask Mr. Watsiotis if this is something we do every year, or is this,
Yes, it's an annual thing.
yeah, I thought so.
We're required by law. Sorry, Tony Mulachiotis, County Treasurer. We're required by law to make the municipalities whole when people don't pay their taxes. And it's the responsibility of the county and the county treasurer to do that. That's the reason we borrow now. There is counties that are better off financially, that don't have to go through the process, and they use their own funds in order to do it. We don't have that ability. I don't know if the county ever did in the past, but not in all the years that I've been involved. That has to be paid back in 18 months. It's every 6 months we make a payment, including the interest. And then we recoup that from the collection that we do, or the foreclosure process when we sell the properties.
Other questions?
Chair, I have a question. So does this place the county in first place lien holder on these properties that go up for taxes?
Yes.
So
Now, as you know, there's been some changes with the Raffaelli case that happened in the state of Michigan. For certain people that lose their properties, if we sell them and they make the fire motions in order to recoup whatever they can out of it, any excess process, we pay up, we collect from the sales, has to go to them according to the law. But first, we have to get our money first and all the expenses we have, the money we haven't collected.
So if we, can I continue?
Go ahead, yes.
If
please.
we didn't do this process, who would be the first place lien holder, the township or municipality?
It will be the county, because the county, we have to pay them. The law says that we have to make them whole because they need the money in order to operate.
Right, but if the county didn't borrow the money to make them whole, would that put the township in the first place position lien holder on these properties?
I imagine, and maybe Mike can help me on that, but I imagine, yes, that might be true, but that's not what the law says. The law is very clear that the county has to reimburse the local municipalities for any of the money that they haven't collected.
So Mike, can you address my question?
Yeah, so I think it generally falls to the foreclosing entity. And because the foreclosing entity is the county is always the first priority on tax lien. So the township reports it delinquent, right, March 1st, I believe, to the county. That starts the clock for purposes of one, making the township whole, right? Any delinquencies, county pays. And then the county stands in the place of the foreclosing entity for a first priority tax lien. So if there was not that relationship between them, I generally would agree with you that the township would still hold a first priority tax lien. But I think that the treasurer is correct in terms of the law, which names then the county as the foreclosing entity. Some counties actually use the AG's office as a foreclosing entity as well. But I don't think
No, we opted in actually when a year after I came into office, which was in 2006.
Yeah, so I think generally speaking, that would be right if the law was structured differently, in terms of the county having the obligation to pay and make those local municipalities whole on the tax liability, on the delinquent taxes. Does that make sense?
Well, that makes sense, but my concern is the landholder that hasn't paid his taxes, and the municipalities or the townships, obviously they would like to be made whole, but they might be less quick to pull the trigger on foreclosing on those properties. And the fact that we're borrowing $12 million makes we've got to recoup that money, I think you said within 18 months. So we're pretty quick to pull the trigger on foreclosing these properties. And that's my question, is if the townships were doing it, they might work with the residents to make themselves whole a little quicker than us just foreclosing. And I'm wondering if this loan is the trigger point for why the county is doing this.
Yeah.
May I answer that?
Yeah.
The municipality has 2.5 years, the opportunity to collect that money. And if they don't collect it, they still need the funds in order to operate. So that's according to the law, that's how it's turned over to, on March 1st, it's turned over to the county treasurer. And on April 1st, we do the foreclosures. But it takes 2.5 years. It's not a 1 year thing. So the municipality has plenty of time to collect, and they do try to collect. And they put interest on it and everything else.
But once, as I recall, once it's reported delinquent to the county is the only entity that can accept payment.
Correct.
Because they've already made the township.
We made the payment, right, to them.
Correct. So that's correct. It's a 2.5 year process between when the delinquency occurs and when foreclosure actually happens. So there's a long period of time in there. Now, there are interests and penalties that accrue during that time as well. But foreclosure doesn't actually take place for 2.5 years later. So So I'm not sure that it's the loan that's causing that. And I think, if my memory serves me right, that the township has a legal obligation to report those delinquencies to the county as of March 1st. Like, I don't think that townships can hold that back. Not
No,
that,
no,
not that
you're
they would
correct.
anyways, but yeah.
You're correct. And as far as the $12 million, that was, we established that amount quite a few years ago. I'm sorry, I don't remember the year. But last year, for example, we only took $8,300,000. So it's, we have to use a base in order to go, because at this point, we don't know how much we're gonna need in the next few months, so.
Mr. Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead. Chair Swan.
Tony, seems like you said at one point in the meeting that the number of foreclosures is going down.
Yes. I don't have exact figures with me right now, but I think in the beginning, we start, the delinquency starts with close to 7,000 every year almost. And we work, we have a few months that we work, we have so-called hearings, we meet with the people, and we're trying to put them on payments and other ways, people in hardships. We try to address them and put them on through the process where they can eliminate their taxes if they qualify. So the average amount of people in Mosquito County that we foreclosed in the last so many years used to be around 500 to 600 properties. In the last 5 years or so, we've been going down and down. And last year, for the first time, we went below 100. I think we had 97 properties. But that's mostly because of some of the processes that we have, the hardships, like I said. When there's a person that comes in through the so-called hearings, that we talk to them and they give us a good explanation, we try to give them the benefit of the doubt, put them on a payment plan. Some of those, and the majority of those, have come through. Some of them, they come back the next year. I think the meeting that you're talking about, I said something that brought laughs to some people. But we had a person that came in and said that his mother had died, and that's why he could not pay the payment, et cetera, et cetera. So we felt kind of bad. We checked everything else. He hadn't come to us before. So we gave him an extension of 12 months, and we put him on a payment plan, monthly payment plan. He didn't make a single payment. And then he comes back the next year, and he got the notice of foreclosing, and he says, the reason I didn't do it because my mother just died, and I had these problems and so forth. So we hear all kinds of stories. And sometimes they get away with it, but they only get away for 12 months, if that's the case, because the following year, we're not going to take the same stories again.
Well, Mr. Chair, can I make one other comment?
Yes, please.
Tony is the treasurer because I beat him in the county commission race 20 years ago.
Oh,
We are so sorry to hear
Well,
that.
let me say, thank you, Bob. You did your favor. I'm better off today.
I got a question.
yes, please.
Are you gonna run for commissioner this year?
No,
We think you can beat
I don't want to be. We might disagree for many, many years, but through the years, we have been through a lot, I think, together. And I have learned to appreciate the chairman. I don't agree with him all the time, but
Tony's a great
We don't
guy. He's
either.
been helping with fundraisers.
can you believe that?
I just, you were there. You were.
He asked me to do a fundraiser for him. And I agreed. And then he turned around and told me it was the biggest turnout he ever had because of the food. So
All right, can we move on? Thank you.
thank you.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Pago,
No.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
No.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer.
Yes. Item passes. The next item is WM 22/02-09. Move to authorize the adoption of the attached resolution to waive the monthly interest charge of 1% and the administrative fee of 4% for the period March 1st to April 30th for 2021 delinquent taxes, first year of the delinquency, in accordance with sections 211.59 and 211.51 of the general property tax Act 206 of 1893 as amended.
So
I have a motion and support. Questions, comments, or concerns on this item, please? Commissioner Hovey Wright, go ahead.
Yes, again, same question. Is this something that we do every year?
Yes,
And we're still able to get the money from the
Yes.
delinquent taxpayers?
it just gives them an extra 30 days actually because of.
Oh, yeah.
We're
just
still
that-
gonna collect the money, we're still gonna go through the process.
Okay.
It's just that there's some people that, for whatever their illness might be, or the veterans, exactly, it's another one case, although we do have the veterans exemptions and so forth. But gives them an
This
extra
is
30.
March 1st and April 30th, that's 2 months, isn't it?
April 1st.
It says April.
April 30, I'm sorry, 2 months, yes, I'm sorry.
2 months, okay, all right, so it doesn't go on forever, they still
No,
have to, okay, all right.
Any other questions? Yes, Commissioner Nash.
Tony, it used to help when you put all the details in there regarding who is benefited. I noticed you didn't do that this year. Why not?
I think it does say,
It is.
it might,
It's all-
it does
it's all in
It's
specify,
in there.
it's in here.
It's,
It's in there.
Yeah, it's in there.
The person is eligible for deferment, and then it lists all the different people that can apply.
Oh, you're talking about in the, okay, I thought you used to have it in the actual motion.
It is in the motion.
Well, it's in the,
That's in the.
It's in the-
actual-
The longer
It's in the
version.
description, but the motion itself, that's what.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all.
I don't remember if we did that, but I'll take your word for it.
Any other questions?
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
yes,
Vice Chair Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
yes,
Commissioner Seer.
Yes,
Thank you.
that item passes. The next item is WM 22/02-10, move to authorize a one-year contract extension with Good Temps, Inc. staffing services from April 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2023, and a one-year contract with Global Solutions Group to provide secondary staffing support effective immediately through March 31st, 2023. Have a motion and support on this item. Are there any questions, concerns on this item? Commissioner Laring, please.
Why are we, is Good Temps not providing enough staff or?
Kristen Wade, Human Resources Director. Yes, we've had some challenges in the past few months, and I don't know that it's necessarily good temps. So we have recruiting challenges, everywhere. But to offer the departments a second option, this is an opportunity to then have two services for departments to choose from.
So, may I continue?
Yes, please.
So Global Solutions or Global Solutions, do they have an office in Grand Rapids, right?
Correct.
And do they have local staff in Muskegon that you're thinking they're going to be?
They say they do, and they provide already temps in the Muskegon area. So again, it'll be interesting to see how they perform, but it'll be, again, an option between, two opportunities.
So these are employees of either Good Temps or Global Solutions. Do we have any control? I mean, if what could happen is Global Solutions says, we'll give you $1 more an hour, and then they steal all Good Temps employees, and then we're just solely switching over to Good Temps. Are we a moderator, but between what these temps get paid, or?
The county determines what we pay the temps, and then we have the markup for Global and Good Temps, and Global's markup is a little bit higher. So if the temp is through Global, the county will pay a little bit more, but what the temp receives, the county sets that rate.
So they're not potentially going to be stealing each other's employees to provide more service. Were we dissatisfied with Good Temps? I mean, other than the fact they haven't been able to provide enough?
There's been some departments that have had challenges with Good Temps and would like a second option.
Is that a level of expertise like medical, or is it the lack of medical, I'm just wondering what departments are struggling with that?
They're clerical, the clerk's office in particular right now is struggling with clerical positions, and Good Temps has made the comment that they are seeing many more industrial temps and placing many more industrial temps than they are clerical temps.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Is this just for inside the county? Is this not for Health West? This is just inside the county? Or does this include Health West?
It
too?
would include Health West as well, all county departments, as long as Health West is a county department.
Any other questions? Commissioner Nash?
So these are two separate contracts?
Correct.
One really engages with the other
Right.
part of this whole thing.
Right.
I thought there was a lot of questions about global previously. How long have they been in existence?
That I do not have right off. I can get that information for you. I'm sure it was in their RFP response.
And can you find out or list who they provide
Sure.
workers to?
Mhm.
Yeah, because I vaguely remember last year was some type, there was a lot of questions regarding that organization.
Okay.
And its existence, so.
Mr. Sue, if I could,
Yes, go ahead.
Kristen, we don't use a whole lot of temps, is that correct?
Right, I included the list that we have utilized in 2021, and you'll see there's 43 for public health, but that was COVID screeners, so that's an anomaly, not typical. So you'll see it's just a handful, 24 at the most throughout a year.
I'm sorry, how many
24
for the whole year?
correct.
Commissioner Nash, go ahead.
Was this bid out?
It was,
It
yes.
was bid out?
Last
And
year.
these were the two lowest?
These
Oh,
were,
last year. So
Yes.
it wasn't a new bid.
no, we just had a contract extension option with Good Temps, so we'd like to exercise that. And then in addition, put in a second option for departments.
Well, see, I wouldn't want to see us do that unless we bid it out. I wouldn't want to just give it to Global.
Well, and this is based on the bid that we did last year. They were the second highest.
That could change.
Sure.
And we've got a lot of temp services in Muskegon that could possibly help us with that if we recruited them right. And I don't know, I wouldn't want to just give it to them like that. Good temps, fine, but just adding someone, I think we should get everybody another shot at that.
Commissioner, I'll be right.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Given the difficulty that everybody's having hiring people at all levels, and I know Nancy, our clerk, Waters, has not been happy with Good Temps. So it's good, I think, that we have a second option. And as we see in the numbers, they're the second highest in using temps outside of public health. So I think it makes sense to have a second one, whether that's Global or somebody else, I really don't know, but.
Yes, Commissioner.
There was a
Baker.
question I had that Commissioner Nash asked, when was this bid out this time? Because I don't know, I think that's part of our policy, so having a bid out from a whole year ago. Who else bid last year besides Good Temps and Global? How many other sources were there?
Attachment. 16.
Have you connected with any of those 16 to see what their availability and potential resources
Yeah.
currently are for us?
Global was the second highest last year, and so that's why we went with that.
Last year, but so none of these companies have been connected with since a year ago then.
Correct.
So I'm in agreement with Commissioner Nash. I would like to see a new bid to see, a lot could change in a year. How do we know Good Temps has more offerings than what one of these other ones might or might not have for us? Or are they the most close geographically or?
Yeah, but again, this is year-old data, and so based on a year ago, they were the second highest after Good Temps, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? none.
I guess I have one last question. So what would that process look like if you bid out again? What is the time frame?
3 months.
Well, yeah, we would release another bid, so it's, yeah, probably a 2-month process.
So you haven't connected with Good Temps at this point, so they're not looking forward to like signing a contract anytime soon?
Their current contract expires the end of March, correct?
I'm sorry, Global, because Global's who you're looking to
Right.
ask to contract with.
We reached out to them
You
to
did.
ask if they would honor their year ago
Okay,
quote, and they said yes. And that was the extent that we left it out.
okay. You're not sure of the personnel they have, though, that would be available for our.
Right, based on the RFP response last year, they
From
said
a
they
year
could
ago.
meet our needs. But you're right, yep, that could be updated.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Chair Skolnick,
I'd like
please.
to point out that the attachment to the motion had the previous bids, and I mean, Good Temps was the only misleading one out of the 15.
Right.
And these are, I mean, they're from Virginia, California, Maryland, Illinois, Pennsylvania. I mean, I don't know how that's gonna work.
Yeah, not for low paying jobs.
I don't know, I'm just saying, there, you know, you bid it out and you get this, and that's really a solution. See what happens.
Yes, please.
So who makes the decision, each department head, if they, let's just say the clerk's office decide, I don't really like Good Temps, so they can just not even call them? And they'll, with this motion, they'll be able to just go to, I don't want to talk to Good Temps, I'm gonna try somebody new. That's how it would work.
Right, this motion would give the option for either company.
Any other questions? Yes, Commissioner.
I'm just making a comment. I think that it'd be good to go with the good temps that we got. I just think that we should bid out the secondary as a secondary and give everybody a fair shot at that and see what we come up with. Just because there was a lot of questions on that last year and, you know, being if we did it with some of the local temp services around here, I'm pretty sure we've got some that are, they do some of that probably with staffing or clerical work. We just have to tune them in. And a lot of them are not used to it, or they're used to seeing good temps lock it in, but if they know it's the secondary, you never know. We make it up.
So I don't know how we write this, but I think we need to, I would like to have this motion state that to go ahead and move ahead with the extension of a 1-year contract for Good Temps, but then instead of also a 1-year contract with Global Solutions Group to reach out again to other providers. I don't know how you write that out.
Somebody would have to amend the motion.
Whoever,
So you're saying that the good temps and global,
he's saying to bid it out.
and then,
I'm saying that extend Good
Good
Temps
yeah.
staffing for another year, but also to bid out to find another company to support.
So whoever made the motion and seconded would have to be in agreement with that.
It was Commissioner Skolnick and Commissioner Wilkins.
I'm fine with that amendment.
Global may come back and win it anyway. We
They
just don't know.
could, but at
We
least
just don't know.
it's been over a year.
At least we'll know.
So we're gonna, you wanna bid out both of them again? You've got a whole month, more than a month to do it.
No, I
No.
think he's extending Good Temps and then the secondary place.
Taking a bid
will
for a
go back out for
secondary.
bid.
right, which will take probably about 3 months.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes.
Rosie.
What is the turnover of the good temps? I mean, are we really happy with who they're sending us, or we're just accepting it because it's supposed to be?
Currently, the clerk's office is not happy with the temps that they've been receiving, but they're the only ones that have been utilizing them recently. So I can't say that that's an across the board feeling.
Yeah, the other staff seemed to like it. She just wasn't getting the quality she needed.
And that's why I think, you know, still having a second option is good.
Yeah,
But,
right.
you know, it's just want to make sure we get a good second option. That's all I'm thinking about.
So are we amending our motion or?
I think he okayed it.
I'm whatever you want to do.
Commissioner Skolnick and Commissioner Wilkins would have to be okay to amend that motion to bid out for the secondary provider.
And then,
You're asking us to accept good temps
that's correct.
and bid out the other ones.
To renew
To renew
good
for a
temps
year.
and then
One-year
bid out
contract
for secondary
with temps,
provider.
bid out Secondary provider. Sense?
Yep.
Any other questions? Can I get a roll call vote on that, please?
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hughes,
No,
Commissioner Leering,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes,
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer.
Yes. That item passes. The next item is WM 22/02-11. Move to approve entering into an agreement with Lean Advisors, Inc. to provide lean government training and technical assistance at a cost not to exceed $24,000 for the Human Resources Department and to authorize the board chair to sign the agreement.
so moved.
I have a motion and support. Questions, comments, or concerns on this item, please?
I guess I would like to know what lean temps does. Government training.
Well, we had a presentation, but it wasn't set
Just
up,
give me an
so-
idea.
Sure. Well, they came in and worked with the health department on processes to help streamline,
Mhm.
ensure efficiencies, reduce waste.
Okay.
Continuous improvement.
Right, yeah.
Any other questions?
I sat in on the presentation at the health department, I think Mark, myself, and I thought
Yeah,
you
I
were
was
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of us commissioners were there. I thought we all were supposed to take turns, but anyway, yeah, the department really loved it and showed them in different areas that they had a lot of waste that they didn't realize they were doing and how to be more productive and cost efficient. So Director Moore was really pleased with that.
Okay, any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hughes,
Yes,
Commissioner Leering,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes,
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
yes,
Commissioner Seer.
Yes. That item passes. Excuse me. Next item is WM 22/02-12. A move to modify the title and pay table / grade of the Veterans Services and Programs Coordinator position X92801 from NX-00300, $28.89.3 per hour to $36.52.6 per hour to pay Veteran Services Manager at table grade NX-00320, $31.74.2 per hour and to $40.14.5 per hour.
so moved.
second,
A motion and support. Questions, concerns, comments on this item? Seeing none, I will.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
How are
Commissioner
we
Hovey
paying
Wright.
for this? How are we paying for this?
$5. Perfect. It's through our village funds,
Okay,
no additional costs outside of the general fund.
so no general fund, thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hughes,
Yes,
Commissioner Leering,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
yes,
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer.
Yes. That item passes. The next item is WM 22/02-13. Move to approve payment of the accounts payable of $27,826,574.44, covering the period from December 17th, 2021 through January 14th, 2022, and P card and EFT payments covering the period from December 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021, as presented by the county clerk.
So moved.
support.
Second.
I have a motion and support. Questions, comments, or concerns on this item? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Vice Chair Hughes,
Yes,
Commissioner Leering,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
no,
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer.
Yes, and that item passes. The next item is WM 22/02-14. Move to enter into a contract with Mediation and Restorative Services to provide a hosting agreement between the County of Muskegon and Mediation and Restorative Services to provide hosting services for data, application, and support services effective December 17th, 2021 for 1 year, and authorize the board chair to sign the agreement.
Support.
I have a motion in support. Any questions, comments, or concerns on this item? See, Commissioner Larry, go ahead.
So, why do we need outside storage?
Okay, this is Ivan Phillips, IT Director in Muskegon County. This is us providing them with the storage.
We're making.
They're a
them
customer.
us.
So
They're paying us.
we're storing outside material here at the county, data from outside the county.
From non-profit.
Okay,
We are, yes,
You're
that's correct.
storing data.
okay. All right, thank you.
He thought maybe it was outside.
Is this,
Yes, Commissioner Pagel, go ahead.
is this the company that you just contracted with over the last few months? A new,
This is a different one.
another different? So this is 3, I think, since I've been here. Is that correct? Is there 3 of them now?
Yes.
Is that the right number, 3?
Yes.
So you keep taking on more and more other entities other than the county. I don't see how our county, I just still can't wrap my head around this, that our county employees, our taxpayer, getting paid their wages by taxpayers, but we're taking in
They're paying for
other
the
entities,
service.
excuse me,
Yeah.
you have to address the chair. Yeah, I just, yeah, anyway.
Yes, you may.
Okay. Originally, it was designed to do this, to bring in.
I know the
revenue.
story from how it happened originally. I
To
just
bring in-
wonder how big is it gonna grow? I mean, how many more are we gonna keep?
Bigger than that.
I mean, we only have so many county employees, and if they're taken away from their tasks that the county has to provide, that we're statutorily mandated to provide to do for these other entities, it's just, I mean, where do you draw the line?
The environment is virtual. Okay, so after the initial setup, it pretty much runs itself.
There you go.
Okay, I'm not technologically as advanced as you are, so
Please come join us at the IT department. I'd love
I'd love to see you.
I
if
would
I had
love it.
time, right?
I would love, yeah.
Commissioner Hughes, please.
I'm gonna ask Director Phillips on this, but as I understand this, it's not like your crew is working a lot on this, and that you're mostly storing their data so that they don't have to buy their own servers and all of that stuff. Is that correct?
Not only are we hosting the data, we're also providing them with desktop services,
Okay.
Microsoft Windows, Microsoft Office.
Okay, so it's not, but it's not like you have your crew over there all the time working for them.
It's all virtual.
Yeah, it's all virtual.
So, but you're providing desktop services, so, excuse me, can I continue?
Yes, please.
So if you're providing desktop services, even if it's virtual, if they have a problem, they call in to get help, right?
That's correct.
So essentially, it's county employees that are gonna be helping them. So I mean, you see anybody else see where I'm going with
Well,
this?
excuse me, may I?
Please,
The advantage here is they're paying us for it. So yes, it's county employees, but we are.
I understand,
Generates
I
revenue.
understand that, but I'm just asking, where does this end? Are we gonna continue to keep this? I mean, we could grow this really huge and have
Let's
to
do it.
hire more employees I mean, no, that's not. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
Commissioner Nash, please.
I was just saying this, and I was already hit on all these, but this is why we purchased the system the way we did. And this is what we had planned for when we did do that. So we hoped it would grow as big as it can grow to continue to bring in more revenue. And we can hire more employees if we need to. But again, with this being a virtual system, there's not a lot of employee time spent in trying to, it's not like they're providing, you know, hardware services, you know, for all these companies are different, you know, it's a virtual system, their data stays on there, you know, we're hosting it. I mean, I buy services from people for websites, so same difference, it's, you know. They'll provide you technical assistance, but nobody ever come to my house to work on anything. I just call someone, they answer the question, we move on.
Commissioner, I'll be right, please.
Yeah, and just to let you know about what the restorative justice organization does, they mediate court, the things that would go to court, go to mediation instead. So it's resolved out of our court system. So it frees up our court system in addition to, you know, providing, well, I'll just say that.
Any other comments?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry. Chair Skolnick, please.
I know they've been bringing on more non-profit clients, some, but you've also lost some. It isn't like it goes, you know, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Didn't you recently, I think one went away?
2 years ago, Commissioner, that's
Has it
correct.
been 2 years? Okay, so it isn't, it's like any business.
Okay, yes, Commissioner. Wall.
And this is a small agency anyway. I don't think they have more than 4 or 5 employees. You know,
They use a lot of volunteers.
Mr. Learn, please.
So this kind of gets, and I think Melinda was getting at the root of the core with her questioning. Government doesn't exist to compete with private industry. We're supposed to provide constitutional mandated services to our constituents. And now we're providing services that there are other private industry services for. We may have built this mega beast of a computer down there that could store all this stuff. Maybe we shouldn't have done that, but we certainly shouldn't be competing with private industry who could host these services. So from that standpoint, I mean, I'm going to vote no on this, not because we can't do it or probably do it efficiently, but I don't think that we should be competing with private industry. And they could find another host for their data storage outside of the county. So I appreciate what you're doing. I just don't want to compete with private industry.
Yeah, so yeah, we only do this for nonprofits and other governmental entities. We don't do this for the private sector.
That was made clear to me, but still there are private industries that will do this hosting and storage outside of a governmental agency. And I don't think the county should be putting themselves in a position to compete with industry. And it might not even be local industries. And I don't even want to use the example, but maybe North Korea has a computer service and a hosting service and data storage, but I don't want to compete with North Korea or Joe's computer service next door.
Commissioner, I appreciate that. It was the commission at the time that wanted to show that an outreach to the community for nonprofits and the governmental entities.
I can appreciate their sentiment. I just might have disagreed with it then and still do today, but thank you for what you're doing.
Any other questions?
Commissioner Laring,
No.
Commissioner Nash.
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
No.
Chairman Skolnick.
yes,
Commissioner Wilkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Seer.
That me?
Yes.
No. Okay, that item passes. The next item is WM 22/02-15. Move to enter into a contract with Muskegon County Road Commission to provide a hosting agreement between the County of Muskegon and Muskegon County Road Commission to provide hosting services for data, application, and support services from the effective date of this contract for 1 year and authorize the board chair to sign the agreement.
So moved.
Second,
Motion support, questions, comments, or concerns on this item? Yes, Commissioner Nash.
I appreciate the way that this hosting services help many of our nonprofits and governmental agencies, because Lord knows, we as a county government are always trying to save a dollar. And we definitely want to help anyone in our community and need that support to be able to help save funds also, even the road commission, because God knows we could put more money towards those roads as much as possible.
No comments, none, seeing none, roll call, vote, please.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
Pass.
Chairman Stolman,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Javi Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hughes.
Yes,
Commissioner Larry,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
This is for the County Road Commission.
That's correct.
Right.
And we are, I mean, they're underneath the county purview already, right? Okay, yes, just 'cause I can't find it to read it all the way through.
Commissioner Seer.
Yes. That item passes. The next item is WM 22/02-16. Move to extend the contract with DLZ to include performing a space needs analysis pursuant to the scope of work attached on a time and material basis not to exceed $184,000, and authorize the board chair to sign amendment number 2 to the existing agreements.
so moved.
Have a motion and support. Any questions, comments, or concerns on this item?
Yes, where's the money coming from?
Madam Chair of Public Works, this was not budgeted for because during the budget process, we had no idea we'd be entertaining this, so we're proposing to take it from American Rescue Plan
Thank
as
you,
part of the purchase of the building if the board so chooses to move forward to purchase.
thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yes, Commissioner
before
Hubbard
we
Wright.
lose Mr. Burr, what's happening with the building over by MCC? Where are we in the negotiations?
I don't want to discuss, anything to do with the purchase in open
Oh,
session.
right, okay, sorry.
But this would be the next step.
Okay.
If we were to move forward is to,
Good question. Okay, hearing none, let's have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Pego,
No,
Chairman Stolman,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Javi Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hughes.
Yes,
Commissioner Larry,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer.
Yes. Excuse me. That item passes. Excuse me. The next item is number 9, which is unfinished business. Is there any finished business to come before the board? Seeing none, how about any new business? Is there any new business to come before the board? Seeing none, is there any?
I have a
public-
question.
Oh,
New
go ahead,
business.
please.
How close are we on the software to have it updated for the budgeted sections? They all said no, no, no. I know it's,
That should be fixed the next time we have motions,
okay.
not
so
on Thursdays because those are already done. So
Okay.
next month, when we
Next
start,
month?
it'll all be fixed.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Harvey, right, go ahead.
Yeah, this is sort of a similar thing. Will you be able to include the page numbers for the different items so we can find them?
We are not able to do that according to Civic Clerk. We can just list the page on the bottom.
When's our
We checked
contract
into
end with
that.
that? So we can go back to the other one.
The other one's me, word perfect.
if we can't run it, we don't, you know.
Aye, aye.
So
Okay, any other new
A lot of
business?
sorts of things.
Any other new business? Anybody? Anybody? Okay, public comment, any public comment? There's anybody? See nobody? Final board comments. Anybody like to make a final board comment? Adjourn to call the chair. This committee is adjourned.
That's I'm gonna cry. I don't think they're
Yeah.
They're all out of order now. I was just trying to look for something to clutch them on.
Yeah.
Do you have a fireplace?
So there won't be page numbers on
That was in mine.
the packets?
You can always look at it.
This one